Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Green Nurse Podcast. The Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse Daily Dose of AFA. Nurse Mark is taking a day off, so we actually have a very special, beautiful guest, Green Nurse Denise. So as you know, what do we do here every day? We bring you hope and inspiration for growth and healing so you can start your day off the most amazing way because you deserve to feel good. And let me just tell you, Mark and I talk about this all the time. We have built-in forgetters, so we need to be reminded. And so we're here. We want to reach you all. We want you to start your day off in a way that is going to motivate you, energize you, fill you with wisdom, spirit, and then, of course, a little bit of cannabis education. Yeah. So Mark wrote a book. Mark, AFA, thank you so much for writing this book. And actually, too, I'm just going to give them a quick little plug. Mark and Jamie are actually away because they are celebrating their 1-year anniversary. And the wisdom and the plant medicine brought them together. So I just want to say happy anniversary to the both of you. I hope you both had a beautiful weekend and enjoy Magnificent Monday today. You're both AFA.
Yeah.
So Denise, for our new viewers that have not met you, you've been on a few times. Will you just introduce yourself and then we'll get into the daily spiritual message?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. So yes, I am a green nurse, holistic cannabis nurse, and I basically help people to incorporate these different holistic practices that I call my energized living practices, and how to connect to spirit, connect to yourself, so you can be the best version of yourself. And
yeah, there you go.
Really operate on 4 P's, right? And incorporating those 4 P's, prayer, dropping in, positive mindset, protection, meaning how we protect our body, how we boost our immune system, our mind through physical, what we eat, and then play, meaning being open to experiment, to try different things, to see where we can go. So that's basically, and that's what I do, help people get through.
And for the new viewers too, Denise was on the show last week, and we shared her story of what brought her into cannabis. And I'm just going to say, one of the things that I didn't know, and you really don't share that often, is your involvement in, you're an Airforce flight nurse and you're a veteran. So yeah, that story is whoa, really, really amazing. Yeah. So that's part of the history of what brought you to where you are today when it comes to working with plant medicines, because you have done the internal work, and that's what we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
And you're incorporating all of these different modalities. And what's interesting is you're not stuck in the story, with the PTSD that you've experienced, right? You've moved through it for post-traumatic growth. So I really want to just give you the credit, because it's not acknowledged. Doing the internal work is hard, but it's so worth it. And guess what? Cannabis can help. And actually, you've already did the work before you came to cannabis, because that was the most amazing thing, was that I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea that you were in the military. No idea what you experienced, because you processed that using all of the different tools that you created for energized living.
Right, exactly. And I didn't realize it until I reflected back. COVID kind of bubbled up a lot of those feelings, those traumatic, stressful feelings. And looking back, I was like, wow, I kind of had those practices all along and I didn't realize it. And it really worked. And so that's what made me so passionate about doing this work, because if I was cultivating those practices that were just flowing in my day, not even realizing it, it shows like how easy we can do that and how seamless we can make it happen. It doesn't need to be big, crazy things, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so then I might as well plug the Cannabication that's coming up, because
why not? It's
so
the
Denise,
culmination of it all.
Yes, and we talked about this last week as well, because as nurses, as people, a lot of people that are new to plant medicine, one of the really most important things is being able to utilize it in a way that's going to pair with other health and wellness activities so you can function optimally. So the wisdom of plant medicine, what's the purpose? The purpose is to live your best life, create a state of harmony between mind, body, and spirit. So Denise has taken all of these principles that she's learned, that she's incorporated into her daily routine, her daily life, and she's taking it to the next level and bringing it to a retreat. Now, the cool thing about the retreat is that we're pairing it with cannabis, and we have the ability to show how we compare cannabinoids, plant medicine, all of the other tools for health and wellness that actually support and nourish the endocannabinoid system. The importance of having that experience is to ground it into your body. And so you can learn and take these tips, tricks, hugs, and nugs with you into your daily life. So Denise has put together Energized Living Green Nurse Retreats. And Denise, just share a little bit about what people can expect if they do decide to show up, and also in the future. We're gonna be having more of these.
Right. We are going to be having more of these. And I want you to know this is for everybody. This is for somebody who's curious about, like, I want to change the way I manage my health. I'm tired of relying on medications. I'm tired of waiting for an appointment with the doctor. Like, I want to prepare my body so I don't have to go to the hospital, so I don't have to rely on that. And that's what this is about for everybody, for wellness. Or maybe if you are in, a medical crisis, maybe you've been diagnosed with cancer and you just really want to flip the way you live. And for the first time, like, I want to take charge of this, and help my body heal itself. So this retreat is set up for anybody, who's just curious about incorporating plant medicine and curious about what happens when I add meditation in here. What happens when I add in dance and movement through journey dance, a very purposeful kind of therapeutic way of releasing some of these things that are bottled up inside of us. So this retreat is going to encompass, first of all, education, about plant medicine, about these different modalities and what they do to your body. So you understand what's going on, and then you understand, like, okay, what's going to work best for me? And you get to try it out with nurses,
right?
There to hold your hand, and you don't have to feel weird or uncomfortable because, there's no judgment. We're here to
go.
You and to help you and just to make you feel wonderful, right?
Yeah,
and accepting of yourself and your path. And so there'll be education. You'll be able to actually eat delicious infused meals, which you'll have total control over how much you take. And then we will do meditation, you will learn a morning practice that you'll be able to take home and do, with yourself and your own. So you're going to gain tools that you can bring back with you, different skills that you'll be able to bring back with you, because you're going to be able to try it on and say, hey, that worked, for me, or maybe I need to tweak this a little bit. So that's
about really grounding, right? It's about bringing all that. Yep. It's really, honestly, if you think about it, so you're going to be learning all these things, but you're going to be applying them, having the actual experience. Experiential learning allows us to ground it into our bodies, because once you have a response, you're going to remember, right? And so having the best experience, the best response is going to help you to remember how to do it again and again and again in a way that's going to support you, your life path, your personal and your professional goals. Plant medicine for the win. So I just want to let you all know right now that my computer just started blinking on and off, as it always does.
It's very excited that we're here together, Sherry.
Yeah. So basically, my power is fine. It's just my computer that does this, and I don't understand it, but I don't care. But anyways, the bottom line is I'm looking at a green dot. I can usually see Denise, and I can see what's going on in the StreamYard, and I can comment and put up different things, but right now I can't. So I just want to let y'all know that
we're a little on the fly. So
we're going to do it on the fly here. So one of the things is going to lead us into the quote of the day, and the quote is by Jill Woodworth. Jill Woodworth is from TSC Talks. She has her own radio show podcast, and she shines the light on different atrocities that happen in the healthcare system, especially with children and children that have chronic disease and illness. So I've been on her podcast before, and her quote just really 100% touched a chord in my heart, especially with the hurricane that went on this past weekend for so many different people. So she did a great picture of her standing in the rain with and I posted it up. There's a post up there, standing in the rain. And this quote was just so beautiful. So the quote goes such as this, and thank you, Jill. Stand in your personal hurricane and know that you are enough. Ooh, right? So, so a little woo-woo, but listen to this. Reminds me of why we need to do the internal work, why we need to stay close to spirit, why we need to stay connected to nature and plants and the wisdom of plant medicine, because we can remain rooted and grounded to the earth as to withstand whatever storms are going on around you. And I call them shit storms, right? So be like the cannabis plant, grounded, rooted, reach for the light, right? The cannabis plant's always growing towards the light. And so this is just a little symbolic message that the cannabis plant does great in the weather. That's why they call it, just keeps growing. It's grounded and it's rooted and it gets nourished by Mother Earth and then grows to the light and flowers. So just look at you doing the internal work, staying close to spirit, staying close to nature, getting grounded and rooted as a way for you to grow. Growing in health, really, that's what it's all about, right?
And grounding and rooting, that starts with tapping into yourself, meditation, being quiet, and that's just your foundation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to lead us into Motivational Monday. And what motivates us as cannabis nurses to do what we do? Why do we show up here every week, every morning? Is because we feel compelled to share information. And one of the most eye-opening things as I've continued to evolve in the cannabis space as a nurse was that in 2018, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. The National Council State Boards of Nursing put out a 64-page document in the Journal of Nursing Regulations. So if you don't know the National Council State Boards of Nursing, what they are is they're the regulatory board that oversees the licensure of all nurses and advanced practice nurses. So they basically identified 6 essential areas of knowledge about cannabis for all nurses, nursing students, and advanced practice nurses. So that is why we do what we do, is because y'all need to know this, right?
Yeah.
So the National Council State Boards of Nursing, the 6 essential areas, I'm going to have Denise read them right through. And then we're going to talk about the most important one, because we cover all the other ones during the week. So Monday, we like to stick with spirit. Go ahead, Denise.
Awesome. We love spirit. Yum, yum. So the first one is the nurse shall have a working knowledge of the current state of legalization of medical and recreational cannabis use. So we'll review each state. We need to remember that the information is going to be constantly changing and evolving with this plant. So we have to stay up to date, right? Absolutely. The nurse shall have a working knowledge of the jurisdiction's medical program. So the jurisdiction is the power to exercise authority over personal and things in a territory.
Right.
So
just really quickly, just to kind of explain that one really quickly. Yeah. So you think about cannabis as a Schedule 1. Every state is completely, Schedule 1 means illegal. And so federal level, it's illegal. Every single state has their own laws. And even within the state, there's certain towns and counties that have their own specific laws as well. So the jurisdiction is different for how everyone tolerates cannabis in the community when it comes to the law. Yeah. So it's important for us to keep up to date with that as well. All right, sorry to interrupt. Number 3.
Okay. I'm glad you explained that. Yeah. The nurses shall have an understanding of the endocannabinoid system, the cannabinoid receptors, the cannabinoids, and the interactions between them. So fascinating. I love learning all that stuff. The nurses shall have an understanding of cannabis pharmacology and the research that's associated with medical use of cannabis. All very important, because you will get people saying, wait a minute, I don't believe that. The nurses shall have an ability to identify and safety and the safety considerations for the patient use of cannabis.
I'm going to interrupt real quick with that one. So when we talk about safety considerations, that even leads into the Energized Living Green Nurse retreats, right? We want to, we're identifying safety considerations for all people and to teach you how to utilize this in a way that's safe for you, right? The whole point, right, is to feel good.
Right, feel good. We don't want you to go down a path where it's does not feel good. So that's
exactly
the sweet spot with all this, right?
Right.
The nurse shall approach the patient without judgment regarding a patient's choice of treatment or preferences in managing pain and other distressing symptoms.
Yes, and I'm going to add on to that one as well. So not only should we approach the patients without judgment, but we also need to approach the providers without judgment. And this is all healthcare providers, because I'm not going to lie, when I found out that there was an endocannabinoid system back in 2014, okay, and I've been a nurse for a long time, I was embarrassed. And I was like, whoa, I can't believe I didn't know this. And so once you go down the rabbit hole of learning about cannabinoid therapeutics, you can't go back. So, and in this moment in time, providers do need to get on the bus. They do need to learn. They do need to figure this out because it's not going away. But our role is to be kind to them and to realize that they're also in a learning curve. So we need to treat the providers like patients, because after all, we are all patients.
Exactly. That's
right.
a good point. We're all patients and we're all
patients.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So this leads into, which I love, spirituality is the root of cannabis care. Yeah. So we talk about, that's why we do all of this stuff in the morning, right? Spirituality brought me that hope. The cannabis plant imbibed as I started to consume cannabis and use all the health and wellness tools. What happened? I had hope. I had that hope. And when I have hope, what happens is I started to connect to spirit, have that spiritual connection, that radiant compassion and that empathy for myself to bring a feeling or a desire for something to happen, for change, for healing. Right? And then the plant brought me inspiration, and it brings others inspiration. You think about that mental, emotional connection to spirit, it allows us to be in spirit. So when you say inspiration, inspire in spirit, right? And it gives us the boost, the spark, the stimulation to do something creative and different for health and healing. So hope, inspiration, and then growth. Growing in health, mind, body, and spirit, transforming, self-developing, personal development, self-guided improvement. So hope, inspiration, growth. And when we grow in health, what happens? We heal. We start to heal. And the most important thing about healing is it's not the absence of illness or disease. So healing is the process of making or becoming sound or healthy again. To restore to sound health is subjective for each patient. And our role is to not judge what their goals are for optimal health and wellness, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to get into Gene Watson's theory of human caring, which incorporates 3 other theories. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because in nursing, as we start to educate and develop, there's nursing theory. And in the medical traditional system, it's important to apply these different theories. And I'm not going to lie, Dr. Carrie Clark, I'm just really, really excited that she introduced this nursing theory to me. Gene Watson's theory on human caring. And as it developed, I started to learn what it was based on. And this is just really important because this is going back. We're going back. This stuff has existed for a long time. And so, Denise, what are the 3 other theories that encompass Watson's human caring theory?
Well, they're based on humanistic psychology. And what that is that calls for the person to look deeply within with the knowledge that self-awareness is a prerequisite for self-growth, right? We got to go in first, right? And then the Eastern philosophy, which is spiritual principles looking at the whole instead of like just focusing on the parts, and focusing more on the similarities, not like the separateness, right? And then transpersonal psychology, and that's spiritual psychology where you're the whole person psychology connected to spirit and transcending self and ego. So
Right. Absolutely.
Right. It's beautiful.
And cannabis helps us
Yeah.
to reach in, to go in. And cannabis pairs really well with humanistic psychology, Eastern philosophy, and transpersonal psychology. So Watson's theory of human caring, she describes a transpersonal nurse as one who has the ability to center consciousness and intention on caring, healing, and wholeness, rather than on disease, illness, or pathology, because it focuses on helping patients to achieve a more complete sense of harmony within their mind, body, and spirit, regardless of what's going on, by using these caring interactions. So she developed these 10 Caritas processes. We've been covering them every week. And the reason why we keep covering them is because it's so, so important. As traditional healthcare workers, in the traditional system, even though we're holistic nurses, usually when you're in the traditional system, we're focused on body parts, symptom management, pharmacology. If we're lucky, we get to mental, emotional health, and rarely do we get to spiritual health. We get to spiritual health usually at the end of life. So let's back that up. Let's bring spirit into our lives a little bit sooner, right?
Get it now.
Yes, the time is now. The time is now. So the spirit affects our mental, emotional, and the spirit, as it affects the mental and emotional, filters right down into the physical. So let's get into Jean Watson's #1 Caritas process. Denise, you're on.
Practicing love and kindness and compassion towards yourself. Got to start here, right? And then others when you're working with patients, right? And to our providers, that provider who's taking care of that patient, having compassion and kindness towards them as well. Yeah.
So here's the question. How do we practice loving kindness and compassion towards ourselves and others when we're working with patients and providers? Right? And there's a lot of different ways to do that. Connecting with spirit and educating through that loving presence. We are the space of healing. Providing that same loving care to ourselves just as we do our patients, being the change, being the power of example on how to nourish our endocannabinoid system. And like I said, we demonstrate this love not only to the patients we care for, but also the professionals that come to us for education.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. It was interesting. Just a quick little story. I was,
Love story.
yeah, well, I was with a close friend of mine, had gotten diagnosed with lung cancer. And I went with her to meet with her oncologist, just as the side buddy, to help her listen and just be supportive for her. And I was talking to the doctor about cannabis and if she, would be okay with, my friend, using that as part of her treatment plan. And the doctor was very open and, said, I really don't know a lot about this, but, you, as long as I feel safe with, the way I explained what we were going to be doing. She said she felt fine with that. But I went through some of the different practices that I was, providing with my friend, and it was a morning practice. And the doctor was like, she was really taking that in for herself. And it was really interesting. And she walked away. She goes, "Thank you." And I gave her a big hug. I gave the doctor a hug, and I said, you guys have a lot, and you need, this is good for you as well. I mean, this is what I was thinking, basically. But I just gave her a big hug, and she was like, she looked at me and she goes, "Wow, thank you." And I feel like that interaction just changed the whole dynamic, in the whole visit, and it just showed that, I'm looking at you as well, and I appreciate what you're doing for my friend, and we're all in this together.
There you go.
All about like, working through that. So that was kind of,
that's so beautiful. Yeah.
Pretty neat.
So Motivational Monday, we got some motivating things for you all as we wrap up the show today. So tonight, I'm plugging right here, Holistic Caring Community.
Hey.
Why you need to join. Number 1, it's free. Number 2, there's a free introductory to cannabis course. 3, there's a patient portal and patient support group. And guess what? We're all patients, right? There's a free monthly webinar, and we're bringing in patients, providers, and nurses into the community. We're creating this beautiful ecosystem where we can grow and learn together. It's uncensored, and you have the ability to connect with physicians and nurses all over the globe. So tonight is our first book club. Elizabeth Mack, she is the CEO and founder of Holistic Caring. So grateful that I'm able to bring the Green Nurse platform to her platform. Like I said, we're all merging here, and this is for the good of all. So we have our Cannabis for Health, Becoming a Coach. And basically, it's not just becoming a coach for a provider, but becoming your own coach. This is a way for you to learn to coach yourself using cannabinoid therapeutics and all of the rich tools that support and nourish the system. So there you go for this tonight, 8 p.m. Central Time. No, sorry, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. But you have to get into the community. And the part that I love about this is how cool are we as nurses? You can join the book club and you don't even need to have a book. Right? This is how much we love you guys. Come, we'll have the book. We're going to go through it. So if you get the book, great. But if you don't get the book, guess what? You're still invited.
Yay.
Right? So
Information. Awesome.
Yes. And so we want you in the community. So that's what's going on today and tonight.
Absolutely.
And then we have our morning shows for the rest of the week. And then Wednesday night, I'm really, really excited. Wednesday night, I have the president of Mass Can Normal, Grant Smith, coming on. And I also have board member Jennifer, and she is a mass cannabis community advocate, activist. And she was the one who's been pivotal in my life that has helped me in the very, very beginning to learn about things that I never would have learned in a book or a webinar or a classroom. So this is grassroots. And the reason why I'm having them on is because we're going to talk about the Freedom Rally. I was invited to speak at the Freedom Rally, and I'm really, really grateful for that opportunity because it is the grassroots. It is those healers, those caregivers, those people that have worked so tirelessly, effortlessly with passion, purpose, and love to bring cannabis where it's at today. So I started going to the Freedom Rally in 2016. I went and hid behind a tree. I ate a cookie and I couldn't move. 2017, I went to the Freedom Rally and I walked around and engaged, but it was pretty quiet and incognito. 2018, oh boy, I had my cannabis pants on, my Green Nurse jacket, and I was swinging from the chandeliers, all so excited. And so then 2020, we had, there was a virtual Freedom Rally, which I participated in, which was great. But this year, the Freedom Rally is on September 18th, 12 to 8 p.m. at the Boston Common. So on this show on Wednesday, we're going to be talking to the president of Mass Can Normal, the board member, Jennifer, and we're going to talk about about the history, about grassroots, about how they developed Mass Can Normal, and about the Freedom Rally and the history of the Freedom Rally and what people can expect if they attend it. We're going to be there. It's going to be great. Yeah. So that's this Wednesday night. And then this Saturday, we have an event. Denise, you're coming.
Yeah.
Green Nurse Denise, Green Nurse Michelle, myself, Mark, and Jamie are all going to be at this event. And it's going to be in Holyoke, Massachusetts. It's the Holyoke Cannabis Cup. And we're going to be tabling there. And so we're going to have some Nurse Mark books. We're going to have some Cannabis for Health books. We're going to be talking about the community. Michelle is bringing some products from Green Compass Global for people to try. Nurse Mark is going to bring his tincture to try. So it'll be an immersive experience. And then there's a ton of other vendors that are there. So you'll be able to come, you'll be able to learn, you'll be able to see how we as nurses work medical cannabis, also work in cannabis wellness, and we also work in the recreational adult use community. Because you know what? it is about living your best life and helping others do the same. And we do talk about recreating with cannabis, and we teach people how to have an adult use recreational experience, because when we're doing that, what are we doing? We're teaching about the endocannabinoid system. That's the bottom line, and how to have that safe utilization of using cannabinoids. And that's number 5 in the National Council State Boards of Nursing. So recreational cannabis, canna wellness, and medical cannabis. So come to us at the Holyoke Cannabis Cup, and I promise you, you won't be disappointed. It'll be really fun.
Yeah, I'm
And
excited.
then what else?
Time
I
there.
know. And then let me see if we got anything else going on. Well, that's it for the next week. I think that's a lot. I'm really excited.
That's a lot. And if you are curious about, the retreat, you can just
right there in the comments.
Right here in the comments, you can just sign up. It'll show you where to sign up there. And we have 1 room left. Yay.
There you go. There you go.
For you.
Come spend an immersive weekend with Green Nurse Denise and Sherry. I promise you, you will be living your best life that weekend.
You will.
All right. So guys, this has been an awesome Monday.
Yeah.
Monday morning show. Now I have to figure out how to end the broadcast. I think I found a button that I can do this. And I just want to say thank you all for being here. We're extremely grateful. This is why we show up. We show up to share because we care. So do me a favor, share this message, share this podcast, and y'all have a fantastic day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Bye. Mwah.